I have two questions for you, and these are very important questions. And how many of you were in the morning session? And you know the wrong question, you asked the right one? Well, the question I have is, how many of you here want to make money? And what makes you lose sleep at night? Those are the two questions, and I did that for Felicia. And quite seriously, if you don't want to make money, why are you here? Why are you here? Because it is about making money, but it's also about doing something on a much higher level, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And I think you've noticed that with most of the speakers, I haven't been in every single session, but every session that I've been in, there's been a common thread. And what do you think that common thread is that somebody like myself might have noticed? What, something in their message. What do you think it is?
Mission. Relationship.
Can we have a microphone? Because I want to get these answers and see how much people were paying attention or where your level of consciousness and awareness is. Do we have a microphone that we can bring in? Okay. Great. So who wants to share what they see as the common thread? Robin?
To listen.
To listen? Okay.
There's a lot about building relationships with your customer and prospect base.
Okay, building relationships. What else?
Telling your story.
Telling your story. Okay, what else? Helen, you had something.
Focus and take action.
Focus and take action. If you were in her session, you know that that's what she talked about.
To serve others.
To serve others. That is actually the overriding theme of everything, is to serve others. And if you have not heard that, it simply means that maybe you're not in a place that you're ready to serve others. If you have heard that in the sessions, it's because you're ready for it and you are here to serve your market. And when we serve our market, we tend to get through the obstacles that hold us back. Now, I called this presentation, What's Your Zip Line? And I had somebody who said, are you going to zip in streaking? Because we have a streaking runner here somewhere. It's like, no, not going to. I think it was David who said that. And, oh, I'm not going to do that. But they were wondering, well, where did that come from? And in a little while, you're going to find out. But before I share that with you, I want to share about my journey to getting here on the platform at NAMS. I haven't always been comfortable on the platform, and I have to say sometimes I get pretty darn nervous. And when I get pretty darn nervous, it's usually because it's about me rather than you. When it's about you, I can get out of my own way and I say, okay, God, source, universe, talk through me and let me say the things that these people need to hear and the things that I need to hear. When I do that, it's amazing how all of a sudden everything opens up and I have fun. Because in business, it's about having fun. Now, when I first got the bug to speak was probably in the 3rd grade when I was in the school play, but that's going a little too far back. But I heard Tony Robbins on the 30-day Unlimited Power. How many of you have ever listened to that tape series or the CD series? That changed my life. I was in broadcast media at the time. I was selling advertising, so basically I was selling air. And I loved to connect with my clients, and I had gotten out of a really rough patch in my life. A few years prior to that, I had just a lot of dark days. I ended up on the streets, and I was just, blah, 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 blah. My life wasn't working. Got my life together. I got a job in broadcast media. I was the #1 salesperson because I was so passionate about what I was doing. And this one client said to me, we love your attitude. We love how you're always so positive. You always say it's a great day. We have these tapes for you we'd like you to listen to because we think it's going to change your life and it'll help you even more. It's like, okay. And they said, under one condition, that you listen to them. It's like, okay. And at the time, it was a $197 package, and I think, if I am not mistaken, I was probably making about $1,200 a month. That's what my income was. And so that kind of a gift to me was worth its weight in gold. So every day I would pop these CDs, actually it was cassette tapes at the time. I would pop cassette tapes in and I would listen to it and I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. And my life started changing because I was applying what I heard. And my client said, listen, we have about 40 employees who really need an adjustment with their attitude. Would you be willing to come in and do a presentation based on this material? And I thought, wow, I have arrived. they want me to talk to their employees. This is really cool. And they said, look, and they had actually a very high-level service station with all these, what do you call those things where they put the cars up and, what do they lifts, but what are the bays. They had all those bays. They had those things. And so they had like 10 bays that they would do car repairs. So it was not just your typical gas station. And they had me come in and they said, look, we will do $400 in trade on your vehicle. And at that point I had a vehicle that every month it was breaking down and I really needed to. And here I'm trying to learn about success and I had this vehicle that just wasn't running properly. And when they said $400 in trade, I knew I had arrived. I was getting paid $400 to tell people what my philosophy was. So I agreed to it. They picked a date. It was going to be a big to-do for the employees. I studied and studied and studied, came up with a great presentation, went and I had my business suit on and my little briefcase and I walked in and I dazzled them. I was great. I have to tell you, I was so great because I was passionate. There was somebody in the audience who happened to be the father of the owner of the station, who said, you know, you are really good, and I know that you're just starting out and speaking, and I'd love to give you an opportunity to speak tomorrow night, but I don't have a budget. Would you come out to speak to my group? And I said, oh, yeah. And I thought, wow, I'm really good to have somebody already ask me to speak. Even though I'm going to do it for free, that's okay because I can impact these people. Well, I went the next night, I was all excited about it, and I knew that my career was going to change, and I was going to become a professional speaker as quick as I could. Just like what Paul said yesterday, I would go into the Olympics without any practice and I would win. And it was happening. And so I go and I show up and I walked into a room of about 400 people, most of which were tow truck drivers who just got off the road from a rainy day. They were filled with dirt. They had guzzling beer, having a belching contest. And they looked at me in my pristine suit, and I'm walking in all ready to motivate them, and I got up there and I was telling them how to change their lives, and you just have to be positive, and you have to, and they said, get that woman out of here. And they were yelling to get me out of there. So I left, and it was, I had to finish my presentation. And imagine how grueling that is when you know people they hated me. They did not want me there. And I left that night, and I had the shortest career in professional speaking ever, 24 hours. And I swore I would never do it again. Never. I got my feelings hurt. But as it turns out, obviously I was wrong. Because never is a long time. And if you have a passion and if you have a calling, there will be things that open up for you. But the mistake that I made is I didn't know my market. I wasn't an expert at that point in time. I was a pretend expert. I didn't do my research, and I was very arrogant. Those are the things that will destroy you in this industry. And please write that down. Not knowing your market, not really defining your expertise or being a pretend expert. What was the third one I said? Research. I wanted to see if you were listening. Research. And then arrogance. Because what happens is we have these visions and goals, and we believe these things that are being told to us by sometimes people who are not very ethical, and they say, you know, with the press of the button you can make $10,000, with the press of the button you can make $50,000, with the press of the button you can do this. Is that true? Is that true? Absolutely, it is true. I have done it. David has done it. There's many people. Willie Crawford has done it. There's many people in this room who have done it. But the distinction is, from starting out and pressing a button, Connie has done it on many occasions, to laying your foundation. There's a road to be traveled. Another common thread that you've heard this weekend, and if you haven't heard it, it's because you have not been listening, and I'm sure you've heard it, is you have to put your time in. You must put your time in. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they're telling you a lie. Now, does it have to be grueling? No, not at all. Is this lifestyle pretty flippin' amazing? Yes, absolutely. Can it be that this lifestyle eats you up and all you're doing is working? Yes. Can you work in your pajamas and make lots of money? Yes. Can you get addicted to that? Yes. I had a client, somebody who wanted me to do some coaching with them, and I do Skype once in a while, and I do Skype by voice. And this person said, well, we'll do Skype. And I'm, still in my baseball cap and my sweats and my t-shirt, and it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, yeah, I'm working. And all of a sudden the Skype comes through, and I see my picture on my computer, and I'm like, shoot. And I just said, okay, now, we don't do Skype like this, and I'm going to disconnect you, and I'll call you back, click, and I disconnected. And what that told me was, you never know what to expect, and when you might get busted in what you're doing. So, one of the keys to success in this industry truly is to walk your talk. And there are many, many people, every instructor here walks their talk. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. But there are many people who are not in integrity with what they're trying to sell. The one that I have to laugh at, if it wasn't so sad, are the people who have not made any money online, and they're going to teach you how to make money online. It ain't going to happen. And they are not making money because of the fact that they're not congruent with their message. It's like, find something that you are truly an expert at. And here's kind of the whole formula. You've got your present reality. You've got your target reality. Where do you want to be? And you've got your necessary beliefs, thoughts, and steps. In the last 3 years, how many people have more than once said, this economy is really bad? Raise your hand if you have. Okay, the rest of you are probably liars. Because we all, at one time or another, probably have said that. Some people stay in that space and they have a bad economy. There's some people that have not been affected at all by the economy. There's some of us who are actually revenues have gone up. And it's because we really check in with our beliefs. One way to really check in with your beliefs is look at who you're hanging out with. It has been said, this is another thing that has been said quite a bit since we've been here, that you cannot try to convince your family of what you're doing. Your family doesn't understand. Helen, you talked about that. And I remember talking to my dad about the kind of money that I made, and I thought I was making this up because in my teen years, in my 20s, I made everything up. My life was nothing but makeup and what I was going to do, and I was going to do this and I was going to do that, and I never did anything. And so telling him this, he's like, yeah, right, okay. Until one day I took him to the post office, and I live in a little tiny town in Oregon, picked up my mail, and there was an affiliate check for $4,000. And I said, Daddy, this is what I do. And he looked at it and said, I just don't understand it. And they don't, and that's okay. Some people, it's best not to share what you do with. When I moved to my new location from Utah, we've been there about 6 years, and when we first moved there, it's like a little farmhouse. We're doing some remodeling, putting yard stuff in, and kind of making the improvements, and people would walk by. It's a rural community, and in our town, a traffic jam would be 2 tractors on the road at the same time. We have a parade in a town nearby that the highlight of the parade are the riding lawnmowers, how much you decorate. I'm serious, this is a true story. I should have brought pictures to show you. It's like, oh my gosh, I got my boots on and everything. And so anyway, the neighbors would walk by, and we have a Mrs. Kravitz in the neighborhood. You all have a Mrs. Kravitz. And how many of you remember Mrs. Kravitz from Bewitched? Okay. So she'd walk by and doing her walk and just looking and like, didn't want to say anything. And everybody's talking, hi, and what do you do? And I'd say internet marketing. Isn't that a scam? And it's like, oh, that's a nice way to introduce yourself. And she just didn't get it, and I think she thought I was a drug dealer. I really do. I think she thought I was a drug dealer. And finally I said, I'm an author. And that settled it. That was okay. She got that. She didn't get internet marketing. And also another trend that is going on is we are not in the world of internet marketing. We are in the world of business, and internet marketing is the vehicle that helps us to get to the end result and our clients to get to the end result. Because when we say, go ahead, I'll take an applause. That is a fact of life. And this is where a big shift is going on. There is a consciousness shift that is going on where many of us are redesigning who we are. We're looking at, if you've seen me present before, you have never seen me present in Levi's, my Western boots, and a blouse. You have seen me in what?
Suits.
Suits. And I just hired a mentor last week. And she said, as she was looking at my website, she goes, now, do you work with corporate America? And I said, no, I don't. I work with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and authors and speakers. And she said, well, you know, if I took your name off the site, took your picture off the site, took Street Smarts Marketing off your site, I would think you're a corporate trainer. Yeah, that's what I said. Really? I did not know. And I was thinking about it before I came into this session today, how hard I've had to work to show my market what I do, because I've never conveyed it in the right way on my site. Never. And I've been in business for nearly 20 years, and I teach marketing, and I teach become an expert. I teach identifying your market. And I could teach that, and I do it to a degree, but not to the degree that I'm going to be doing. So I'm doing a whole rebranding. Now, some of you say, you know, I've been in business for 6 months, and WordPress has changed, Facebook has changed, this has changed, that's changed. I'm so upset. Why don't they keep it the way it is? Please write this down. Please write this down. It will constantly change. And the sooner you realize that, the better off you're going to be. Because we're going to rebrand my site, we're rebranding my look, we're rebranding a lot with my company name. There's going to be a lot of changes going on. I also have been known as a product creation maniac. If you were in my session yesterday, I shared about how much I've created product in the last few years, and she told me no more product creation for a while. It's like my palms started sweating. It's like, what do you mean? That's like telling me I can't go into email. That's like telling me I can't do Facebook. That's like, and some of those things you don't need to do. You need to look at what your beliefs, thoughts, and actions are. What are the steps that you're taking? Because everything has an action and a response to that action. There's an outcome. Now, here's some things that are very important for you to know, which is the next 12 to 18 months are critical. Critical. When I first came into this industry, there were very few people who did what I did. And notice I said did. Not what I do, but what I did. It was a very uncrowded market. Now it is extremely crowded. If you're a WordPress expert, there's thousands of WordPress experts. If you're a life coach, they're all over the place. If you're an internet marketer, they're all over the place. If you're an author, they're all over the place. The distinction is you have to claim your spot and put your stake in the ground. Who are you to the market? What makes you different? I can assure you that this look that I have right now stands out more than my business suit. I have had more people who've said, now you're approachable. They didn't feel that I was approachable before. So what is it that you're doing that is identifying you in your market as unique, and yet something that's of high value? What is your stake in the ground? And I want you to think about that. And how many of you can say, this is my stake in the ground, this is what I know I'm doing? And look around the room, please raise your hand. Very few people can do it. And as soon as you figure it out, it's probably going to change. Because life experiences, yeah, it's like, that's not funny. Wrong time to laugh. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, position yourself as an expert. And I've had a few of the mini sessions with people since I've been here, and 9 times out of 10, people are all over the board. When I was a generalist, I was more broke than I am today. I'm not broke today. I was all over the board. When I started getting really focused and really niched and really looking at who did I want to work with and who wanted to work with me. And the thing is that there are billions of people that you can choose from to work with. All you need is a little itty part of that world. And some people say, I have to get everybody. No, you don't. All you need is, according to Seth Godin in the book Tribes, if you've not read that, please write that down. You must read that book. You need 1,000 loyal followers, 1,000 loyal community members. And I'll tell you, somebody who's a master at it in this group, Connie Reagan Green, she is a master at building community. Helen is a master at building community. David is a master at building community. And what happens is, I remember early on in the speaking industry, I would look at speakers who were making lots of money and they were up there doing pretty much what I'm doing now, and I'd go, wow, I'd love to do that, but they have so much experience, they're further ahead than me, they had this break, they had that break, and fortunately I had mentors who would kind of kick me in the backside and say, they have experience, they have time in the industry, they have the courage to get on the platform and do what they're doing. Now, if I would have let that fear 20 some odd years ago hold me back when those tow truck drivers booed me off the stage, I would not be here today. At one point in my career, I worked for a company called SkillPath for 4 years. And somebody asked me, what is the worst thing that could happen as a speaker? I thought, well, I guess somebody falling asleep on me. And they said, well, have you ever had that? And I said, no, people don't fall asleep on me. It just doesn't happen. That's another little insight of my arrogance. It's like, never happens. Well, I happened to have a job where I was supposed to go out to an Indian reservation in Arizona in a little remote area where they took me in a little putt-putt plane, and they dropped me off at this little hotel-only thing for miles around, and I was going to train the women from this reservation on confidence, credibility, and composure for women. And 3 female chiefs were there. I didn't even know they had female chiefs. I really did not know that. And they were in the back of the room to watch and make sure these women did not leave the room that day. They were like prisoners. And they're sitting in the back of the room, and they're all back there like this. And I start my presentation. I'm really excited to be there, and all of a sudden, and I'm like, I can't tell the chiefs to wake up. And so I had to present that morning. They slept through the morning, the chiefs. The women loved it, but the chiefs, yeah, it was like they're asleep. And I thought, wow, don't ever say never, because it'll bite you in the butt. Gain visibility. Do what you can. You've gotten lots of tools here to gain visibility. You've got to get out there and gain visibility. Connect in a big way. If you have not reached out to people. Now there's somebody in this room, and I honestly do not remember who it is, who approached me yesterday and said, can I interview you? Because I made a recommendation. Find 10 experts, interview them, and there's your product. She approached me and I said, I don't have time right now. I want you to find me. She has not found me. That is not okay. What you need to do is you need to find me and the 9 other experts. You need to get outside of your comfort zone, because I will tell you, as soon as you get comfortable, you must stretch yourself. If you've not read Brendan Burchard's book, The Charge, please get it. He talks about the caged life, the comfortable life, and the charged life. The caged life is the place that many, many, many people live in. Many people in our world live in the caged life. Basically, they go by other people's rules. They're afraid to have their own voice. They're afraid to do anything without getting permission. And it's epidemic in our culture. Then you have the comfortable life. The comfortable life is we've arrived. We have the home, we have the car, we have the bling bling, we have whatever it is that we wanted to have. We have the income we thought we wanted, and we have arrived, we're comfortable. And so we become scared. Because I don't want to rock the boat, because if I rock the boat, then I might lose what I worked very hard to get. The charged life is the life where you step out and you take risks. Where you step out and you say, I don't care if I fail, because I know that sometimes I have to fail. This is something that in every success secret seminar that you go to, they talk about failure, and most people will delete that one piece of information. All they hear is about the person's success. Well, I'm making $250,000 this year, and da-da-da-da-da. But do you know that I was scared to death to be here today, but I did it anyway? I congratulate people who walk through their fear. Because the majority of people will sit back, they'll take the notes, they'll walk out, and what will they do with it? I'm here to pull your covers. That's what God told me to do today, so I'm blaming it on God. Okay, so you must serve your community, your tribe, your market. You must serve your community. If you think it's only about money, you're wrong. If you think it's only about serving, you're wrong. It must be the connection of the two. I heard Jeff and Melissa today talking about you deserve to make a living, and a darn good living. I don't know the exact words you used, but it was like, right on. You deserve to make a lot of money, because the more money you make, the more good you can do in the world. You can take care of family members. You can make donations to organizations. I have a really lofty goal. I shared it with a few people. I do service work for a senior center in a little town where I live, and I go in there and I serve their meals and I sweep the floor, and they have no clue what I do in my business, and I sing to them and I get them up dancing. We have a really good time. And what we were told by the director, they're cutting some days. And I said, well, why are you cutting days? Well, funding. And I said, well, how much money do you need? Because, maybe I can help out. And he said, $1 million. I said, $1 million for this place? No, 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 no. He said, for the entire county. We're all under the umbrella of the county. And in that moment, I said to myself, I didn't tell him, but I said to myself, I want to write a check for $1 million. That is a goal that, and I get chills thinking about it, because in the past that would have been one of those, oh yeah, someday that, yeah, right, I'll win the lottery and do it. This industry gives us the ability to have those kind of dreams and fulfill those kind of dreams. It is possible. Part of what your responsibility is as you grow your business, regardless of what industry you're in, but you're using the internet, part of your responsibility, and please write this down, and if you don't agree with me, too bad, too sad, because I'm up here and I'm telling you what. Part of your responsibility is giving back. You must give back. If you do not give back, shame, shame, shame. Because a lot of times the people that are not giving back are the ones that are bitching, moaning, and groaning, saying, I'm not making a living. There is a universal law that you put money out, you expect nothing in return, and the universe will reward you. I don't care if you call it universe, higher power, God. There is a source that works through all of us, and if we trust it enough and get out of our own way, and we disperse the money and the energy where it's supposed to go, where we're called to put it out, we will be so highly rewarded. We will be so highly rewarded. It'll blow your mind. Recently, I wrote a check to something for $100. It was just something, okay, I got something in the mail, that feels right. I went out to dinner, came back, and I had a sale of $1,000. I did. I left my house, went about my business. That's the thing, too. Don't try to be manipulating things. Do what you're called to do the footwork. Learn. You must learn. Without learning, you can't do it. The fact is, the world is in pain. I've heard a few of the speakers talk about this. The world is in pain. Desperate, desperate pain. People crave solutions. They absolutely crave solutions. If you want to see how pained the world is, go to any discount grocery store at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Oh, they're in pain. They push their carts into you, and they're angry people, and they're just in pain. And the reason they're in pain is because they're not living their truth. They don't have the solution that you might be able to offer them. Your job is to figure out who needs your solution. You are the answer to many people's prayers. When I was going through some personal stuff and I actually gained a whole bunch of weight, in the middle of the night I would go on the internet and look for weight loss, sleep deprivation. I was looking for all these solutions, and I started buying a lot of stuff. And the only reason I bought the stuff from the people I bought it from is they were visible, they had done what they needed to do to get the rankings on the search engines, they had the keywords, they knew what they were doing to... I bought one where it was like six-pack abs from... At first it was the husband and then the wife, have a flat stomach, so I bought them both because I thought, well, I want both, And I haven't opened it up. It's like, well, so I still don't have the six-pack abs. It's like it hasn't happened, but I bought their program because there was a promise that I could have something I wanted. There was a promise I could have something I wanted. I wanted solutions. And a few years ago, my father was diagnosed with brain and lung cancer, and believe me, I was on the internet looking for solutions. And I found this woman who did journaling for people who are losing a parent. Who would have thought? And I bought her program, and I joined her 6-week journaling course, and I did what I needed to do to get through that painful period. And had she not done what she needed to do, I would not have found that program. No matter how obscure your topic is, there are people that are looking for it. They have to know that you exist. You must put yourself out there. And like Jeff said earlier, we used to sell widgets. Now we sell the fact that you are here to serve. The widgets are the means to the end, but you must get the widgets that are going to work for you. You must avoid the bright, shiny objects too, because they're always there. You need to connect, connect, connect.